Airbus just unveiled its first brand new helicopter model in over a decade, and it is a game changer. But what makes the H140 stand out, and why are some of the biggest names in the industry already lining up to get it? Stick around, because today we are breaking down everything you need to know about the Airbus H140, the next evolution in helicopter emergency medical services.
That's like autopilot, dude.
How do you fly a helicopter? Well, I'm going to show you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is Heli Expo Week 2025 and news just keeps coming out, and this new helicopter from Airbus is absolutely some huge news we need to talk about. So if you are interested in helicopters, aviation, or just want to stay on top of the latest in rotorcraft innovation, make sure to hit the subscribe button and stick around for more videos just like this. Alright, so this is the new Airbus H140. I think it is a phenomenal design. We'll break it down, but just like from this initial picture that Airbus released, it is a phenomenal looking helicopter. I just love it. So let's talk about what is the Airbus H140. It's Airbus's first new light twin helicopter in over a decade. Primarily what this is designed to do is it's an upgrade to the already existing H135. Obviously, who they're targeting is the EMS and helicopter air ambulance industry. They also kind of target corporate and any other market that the 135 and the 145 are already operating in. Now, this is expected to enter service in 2028. Obviously, Airbus is kind of known around the helicopter air ambulance industry as like the go-to, like the GOAT. They make some of the best helicopters for air ambulance, so that's kind of what they're targeting with this one again. So you may be asking yourself, why did Airbus create the H140? So here are the biggest points. It has more cabin space, more power, better accessibility compared to the 135, but the biggest thing is this is going to be a little bit of a smaller helicopter and be a little bit cheaper than the 145. It's kind of that middle ground. EMS operators needed a faster, more spacious aircraft, but wanted to maintain cost effectiveness. This has improved fuel efficiency and operational costs over older 135 models. So you're going to see in a further slide, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I'll just tell you now, this has two new Safran engines. I think they're the two Echo engines, and these two new engines put out more power at the same fuel burn rate, which is what operators want. So moving on, it's got a bigger and better cabin space. This is huge. This is like really a big deal. The 140 has 20% more cabin space than the H135. That doesn't necessarily maybe sound like a lot initially, but 20% is huge, especially when you're talking about air medical. More room for EMS crews to operate efficiently, designed for a quick, easy patient loading, and better lighting in the patient area. So now that I work in helicopter air ambulance, I can see in a helicopter air ambulance, I can tell you just how big of a deal it is to have more space. You're already in a helicopter, which is a cramped, confined environment. It's not obviously the most ideal place to work on a sick or injured individual, but more space is better. You can see in this picture, I mean, they've really laid this out like extremely nicely. Here's your paramedic seat. They can do intubations. They're working on the patient right there. This could be your nurse seat right here. And then if you happen to have like an extra crew member, if you need a different type of clinician there, they could be sitting right there. You could even have potentially a family member. If you're doing training, you could have a ride along. And everyone in here is not cramped together. They're not smashed together. The other thing you'll see on the next slide, I think actually, let's just go there right now. No, I didn't put it on there, but I did right here. Better lighting in the patient area. So I can tell you, I've been on some night scene calls, you know, where you get called to a scene and there's like a trauma. And when it's 2 a.m. and they are working on a patient that is quite sick, they need really good lighting in there. And so some aircraft haven't really thought that well about aircraft lighting and the way the medical interior is configured. One thing Airbus clearly did here is they really thought about the medical interior and the lighting so that they can provide the best patient care in the back of the helicopter that's possible. So this is also huge. Easier patient loading for EMS. They put a higher tail boom on this than the 135, larger clamshell doors, which is a big deal just so it's easier to get the person in, and a lower cabin floor height for easy entry and exit. This is huge. I mean, you can see right here, I don't know how clear it is, but like that is relatively low, which is a big deal. You know, sometimes you fly obviously larger patients that are bigger. So if you have to like lift them and hoist them up, that's just a lot of work. And if you have like someone that's really sick and injured, sometimes if the pilot is keeping the helicopter running or the pilot isn't able to help, if you just have the paramedic and the nurse and they have to lift this patient up, that's hard. So sometimes we have firefighters, police officers, first responders come and help us, and having a higher tail rotor and plus the fenestron, it just makes this a safer design with larger clamshell doors. This is really, it's a big deal. I already talked about this, but improved interior configuration options for different EMS setups. And look at this, entirely flat floor. Wow, that's a big deal. Nothing to really get caught on. You know, you've got your rails here, but entirely flat. I didn't talk about it here because there wasn't a change, but they kept the same helionics, avionics package that is in the 135 and the 145. It's just a really nice avionics package. It's a 4-axis autopilot, but I mean, you can see it's just a large, big box, which is all you want. That's what you want in helicopter EMS, is just a large, big box, and they've done it here. And then this is another absolutely huge deal, the next gen rotor system. They put the 5-bladed bearingless main rotor that is on the new 145 on this 140. And I have to tell you, man, I just love the way this looks. 5 blades on a helicopter just looks extremely cool. It looks agile, it looks mean, it looks like it knows what it's doing. I think 5 blades looks extremely good. But I mean, it's not just like a look thing. It's quieter, it's more efficient, it provides for a smoother flight, less maintenance. And then the other huge thing here, they put this new T-tail on which is a horizontal stabilizer, and it sits on top of the fenestron. So this is different from the 135. Let me see if there's a profile view. Yeah, so right there. So this new horizontal stabilizer sits on top of the fenestron, and I think that looks phenomenal. I mean, just the engineering, fenestron, big vertical stabilizer, horizontal stabilizer. It just looks extremely good with the lights on the back. Yes, looks awesome. Provides better stability and aerodynamics. That's really cool. Optimized fenestron tail rotor reduces noise and improves safety. A fenestron is just, I love fenestrons. I mean, they've got the pros and cons. Like an exposed tail rotor has greater tail rotor authority. A fenestron, you definitely kind of got to work a little bit. But in terms of EMS, I mean, if you're like at that like late night scene call, like a 2 a.m. scene call, and you're having firefighters and police officers help you load, having that fenestron just gives me as the pilot so much peace of mind that no one is going to walk into the tail rotor. I don't have this. I kind of wish I did, because, you know, I'm just sitting here. I can't really, and if I'm staying hot, if I'm spinning, there's nothing I can really do. I just hope that my clinical crew is making sure no one walks into the tail rotor, that the first responders have the wherewithal not to walk into the tail rotor. But a fenestron is just a much safer design for a helicopter EMS. I really like that they did that. And it provides reduced vibration and a more comfortable ride. So, performance upgrades. This now has Safran Arias 2E engines, which produce higher power with the same fuel efficiency. Is that not what every operator wants? They want a better helicopter burning the same amount of fuel. Incredible. This now has a top speed, its V&E, velocity to never exceed, is 155 knots versus 140 on the H135. So that's a 15 knot V&E difference, which is huge. I mean, does 15 knots really make that big of a difference? No, but like, over time, like if you're on a longer flight, like yeah, it does make a difference, and it just feels like you're moving faster. It's also got increased range for longer missions, more payload capacity without sacrificing speed, and a better power to weight ratio. It's like what operators probably were asking Airbus for. They're like, we like this, but we just want to go a little bit faster. We want to burn the same amount of fuel, and they did it. And so I definitely saw Stat Medevac ordered some. They're down there in Pennsylvania. There were a couple other large companies that have already ordered the 140. So this is not just like, they're not just throwing some hope in the air. They have orders. People wanted this helicopter. And how could you not? I mean, it's just a larger 135. It's not as big as the 145. It's just very clean, modern, new, simple. You can see how low the patient loading is in the back. That T-tail. Oh, it's just a great looking helicopter. Why the H140 is a game changer. So we talked about this, but it's huge. Larger, more flexible cabin, which is the biggest advantage for EMS. Upgraded engines for better speed and efficiency. Easier patient loading, which causes faster times, you know, lower operating costs than competitor helicopters. And we talked about this strong industry backing. Airbus is confident in its success. Obviously, they're confident because they've already sold or had some pre-orders of this helicopter. So here are my thoughts. If it's not clear already, I love this helicopter. I was so excited to hear this news come out. I think it's great. My thoughts, here are the points. Faster, 15 knots is a big deal with the same fuel efficiency. How could you not like that? T-tail on the Fenestron looks incredible. I think that looks so good. A T on the back, love it. Mission built for EMS, optimizing. 145 is a lot of helicopter for EMS, and this just makes the 135 better. It's like a better version of the 135. Yeah, like I said, the 145 is a big helicopter. It's good for EMS, but it is kind of a lot. So I've heard it's like a big helicopter for EMS. So maybe something a little bit smaller, but a little bit faster. This is it. It's perfect. Cockpit design is incredible. I really didn't focus that much on it because there's not too much, from what I heard, wasn't too much of a change from like the 135, but the cockpit design is incredible. The helionics, avionics are great, and the autopilot is great. 4-axis autopilot, IFR, it's incredible. This is like leading edge, top of the industry. I love the Fenestron. I love the 5 blades. How could you not? It's quieter, and it's just an extremely well-rounded helicopter. It's like anything you could want. As a pilot, I think my clinical crew members, co-workers would agree, operators would agree. It's just a really good helicopter. Everyone around would say that this is like a good helicopter. That's what I think. So before you go, check out this video I put up here. It's about how to become a helicopter EMS pilot. We're talking about an EMS helicopter, helicopter air ambulance. So if you want to do that job, check out this video. I break down the full process of how to go from 0 to helicopter EMS pilot. It's linked right there. It lays out the full path. And if you want to become a professional helicopter pilot, I do offer one-on-one coaching calls where we can map out your career path from 0 to landing your dream job. If you want to talk to me, the link is in the description below. And drop a comment, let me know, what do you think about the H140? Is it a real upgrade over the 135? Is it significant enough for operators to make the switch? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.